Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Aldas and 50,000 subscribers. Wow, 50,000 of you have subscribed to my channel. Thank you so much. And I thought I'd put this in at the start of the video. If you want to skip straight ahead to the collaboration, I'll have a timestamp somewhere on the screen, but I thought it was really important to say just I don't even know how to say thank you to every single last one of you, because I appreciate you guys so much for watching the videos, for subscribing, for liking, for commenting, for giving me positive, of course, feedback as well, and negative feedback as well, to try and improve the channel. For every single last one of you that has participated in the channel in any way, or even actually messaged me directly over Instagram or Twitter to say, I like this channel, and kind of also have a few little debates there and there. I just absolutely love that. You guys are at the absolute best, and it's incredible to hear stories like I was speaking to someone that watches my content in Kuwait, and I've also was speaking to someone called Olivia who watches with her fiance as well. So now I also want to say a huge thank you over to one of my best friends over from America, my #1 American fan, Lisette. Thank you so much also as well for her encouragement. You guys are so diverse, you're all over the world, and that is just absolutely amazing from my perspective. It's just incredible to think that people are watching my videos from every single corner of the globe. So yeah, just a massive thank you to every single last one of you. You are the people that just keep me going every single day. You're the people that literally make me want to make more and more content and just push the channel every single day and get bigger and bigger. So yeah, again, it's kind of hard to actually put into words in a video how thankful I am, because 50,000 subscribers is a crazy milestone. You know, you see these massive YouTubers on like millions and millions, and you can only imagine how that feels. But to be honest, 50,000 to me just feels like a million. It honestly does. So yeah, again, all I can say is thank you. And then that's the reason for this kind of 50K special, of course. I wanted to kind of give back to the community with an amazing collaboration between me, Tomo F1, Cranky Yankee, and Josh Rell, because, kind of also moving on to the next part, those guys, along with so many other YouTubers, so many other content creators, I did not get here by myself. There has been so much support, so much incredible advice that some people have given me, and I look up to so many content creators and kind of aspire to be like them. And right at the beginning of the channel, right from the beginning of kind of my YouTube kind of story, people like Sean from the F1 Word, who kind of messaged me when I was only on a couple of thousand subscribers, he has provided me so much support, and of course he's almost at 100,000 subscribers himself. So yeah, that's going to be nuts. But again, Sean from the F1 Word, he's given me so much advice when I was going through some good stuff and some bad stuff as well. He was kind of like my go-to guy, in terms of like what I should do. I remember the first time I got like a little copyright kind of warning, I went straight over to Sean. I was so worried, like, oh my god, Sean, I've got a copyright thing, what do I do? Is my channel going to be in trouble? And he just calmed me down. He's given me so much good advice, both kind of within YouTube and outside of YouTube as well. So yeah, a massive thank you to him and all of the rest of the community as well. Some people that have been there right from the beginning. The guys over at the F1 debate show, of course, Lyle and Jordan. I met them at Silverstone last year. Actually, that was incredible. Mike from F1 Fanatics, and of course people like Kids Love F1 as well. He's another great content creator. All of these people, I appreciate every single last one of you, regardless of when you joined the channel. But yeah, I've just had so much incredible kind of encouragement by the community, and it's been just amazing to be part of this Formula One YouTube community, which is just absolutely nuts. And something else that's been amazing to see within the community as well is the growth, because about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, you could honestly count every single real life content creator that wasn't a big company or a big media company. You can honestly count every single channel on like 2 hands. And now during lockdown, when there's been no Formula One, it's been crazy how many new channels have popped up. So yeah, it's just been amazing to see, and also more female content creators as well. That is also really cool to see, because we love to see more diversity within the F1 community. So yeah, it's just been nuts. And again, this community is just getting bigger, it's getting broader, it's getting more exciting, and yeah, that is absolutely amazing to see. So again, guys, I thought for my 50K special, I'd do something very special, something I've been planning for a very long time, because I thought, what's the best way of saying thank you for 50,000 subscribers? How do I say thank you, through a video? So I just thought, by just producing the best content I can and kind of giving you something that maybe you've never seen before, 4 of you, hopefully your favorite YouTubers, me included. But yeah, I hope you guys do, of course, enjoy, of course, me, Tomo, Cranky, and Josh. I don't know what kind of carnage we're going to get up to, but yeah, hopefully you guys do enjoy my 50,000 subscribers special. Now guys, just before I do go, I want to say really quickly a massive thank you once again from me, and also hello Kimmy. Kimmy, we've reached 50,000 subscribers. Can you believe it? I mean, what do you have to say? What do you have to say for the people listening at home? What do you have to say? I don't think it needs any more commentary than that. Speechless. Guys, don't forget, if you do enjoy my content, then don't forget to drop a like, smash that subscribe button, Kimmy. And don't forget to check out my social medias. Instagram and Twitter will be above. And now, guys, we are on the road to 100,000 subscribers. So yeah, I'll see you guys there. But anyway, enjoy my 50K special. And once again, from both me and from Kimmy as well, thank you very much. So that's it. We are finally here. So how is everyone feeling? Just jump in. How are you guys feeling about this?
Good, mate. I'm good. How are you feeling, son? How are you feeling?
Mate, I can't hear you. How are you guys feeling about this? Like, everyone sounds so tired. It's unreal.
I'm doing very good, mate.
There we go.
At 4 p.m.
I was actually just going to say to everyone watching, can we just say, like, just putting this video together has been, like, an absolute nightmare. So just quickly going around, what time is it all over? Because, like, we are literally all over the world at the moment. So for me and Tomo, what is it? It's like 20 past 9 at the moment. What time is it?
20 past 9 in the evening.
Yeah, what time is it for you, Cranky, and then you, Josh, over in New Zealand?
It's 4 over here, so what would you call it? So 16?
So, yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah,
what about you, Josh?
20 past 8 a.m.
Jeez.
Bright and early, son.
It's so weird because I'm like, but literally just before we started recording this, Tomo was like legging it home on a train or something, and he said he was absolutely sweating. So yeah, this has been a challenge. But again, so this is obviously like my 50K special. I've no idea what's going to happen. Like from what we were talking about just before we started recording, it's probably going to go off the rails, especially with, I think like me and Cranky can hold a conversation, but when you put like Tomo and Josh in one of these, just carnage. Absolute carnage.
What are you saying, mate?
What's that shade, man? Come on.
I'll spit in fact.
I want to get behind you for 50K, but I don't know about this attitude, man. I'm not feeling this.
You're starting off with the wrong foot.
What's this all about?
Brilliant. Right, let's just, before we get off the rails a bit too much, because it's going to happen later, let's just begin with something easy. So ridiculously, the Formula 1 season is actually back. How has everyone found it? How did everyone find the first 2 races? What did you guys like and dislike? Just to start off with something easy before we go into total meltdown. Whoever wants to jump in, just go for it. Okay, no worries.
I think for me at least, it's unpredictability, but I'm not quite sure it's the unpredictability I was hoping for, or I guess definitely not expecting. But it's just the question marks over, especially Lewis. You have a Lewis who gets beat, then a Lewis who just absolutely crushes, and you don't know whether that's the wet, whether that's everyone else. There's a deficit, and how mindful are people going to be of their, of wrecks, of errors, of mistakes, and our teams like Haas going to be more careful. Ferrari especially, how's Leclerc going to drive? So for me, it's just been it's been interesting. There's a lot to unpack. It almost feels like there's never enough time to really go through it all, and you couldn't guess. I couldn't stick my finger in the air and get it right. So it's a weird one. It makes it interesting, but it's definitely one where I gotta really pretend I get it right when I actually get it right. So it's been interesting.
How have you found it, Josh?
I mean, yeah, okay, if you ignore the Merc domination. But, I mean, we're talking about, Valtteri's got a good start to the year. Well, I mean, great, he had a good one last year. But is that any guarantee that he's going to legitimately challenge Hamilton for the season? I don't know. But from what I've seen so far, he seems to be doing pretty decently. But... yeah, hot damn. In my opinion, the biggest surprise of the field is actually how the McLarens are doing. Everyone's talking about Racing Point, but no one's really talking about the McLarens at the moment. You got Norris. Is he still third in the championship right now?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, who would have predicted that?
Definitely under the radar, aren't they? That's the thing. You haven't really spotted those guys, but I find it like. I find the whole Ferrari engine nerf quite fascinating. How that obviously it hasn't just affected Ferrari; it's affected Alfa and Haas. I mean, Haas cannot catch a break, can they? They went through all the rich energy nonsense last year. They've got 2 drivers who love crashing into each other, and now they've got a power unit that's just been, nipped in the bud. So bad times for Gunter.
Bad times. I know. Really,
I'm
not going to go into who is right and who is wrong. All that fucking wank, I just love doing that shit, That's just fun.
Brilliant. I don't know. We've got some like serious doppelgangers going on because you sound like Gunter, but like Josh apparently looks like Valtteri Bottas. I
look
apparently
like
look
Valtteri
like.
Bottas. No, hang on. I look like Valtteri Bottas if he discovered McDonald's monopoly. That's what I look like.
That's brilliant. I look like, well, I mean, we all know
We all
who
know
I
who
look
you
like.
look like,
But
Sad.
here we go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Unbelievable,
we all know.
unbelievable.
We all know.
Who else? I don't know. Tomo, who do you look like?
Apparently, I look like Liam Payne. I get that quite a lot.
Okay.
Apparently, that's the
see
thing.
that.
I don't know if you
What
guys
about
are
you-
into
what
One
about you,
Direction or
Cranky?
not, but if you are, then you should know.
What about you, Nick? Do you have any like doppelgangers that everyone says you look like?
I had basically any mixed person, any biracial person. I get the weekend
That
a lot.
narrows it
I get the
down.
weekend at just about every video.
Yeah, that's good. That's like 2 or 3 people in the world. So yeah, great.
Yeah.
But yeah, going kind of back to Formula One, I will just say one thing about McLaren for sure. Like, what's been really interesting is obviously there's this massive hype about Racing Point, but McLaren have actually managed to like step their game up. Like, they are genuinely, as a team, you know, they were the only one in the midfield that actually did team orders to kind of help their team. Renault were like a little bit all over the place, and even Racing Point took like a while for Sergio to overtake Lance. So I think that team has just got so much going for it. And do you kind of buy, you know, any of you guys, do you kind of buy this thing that maybe Carlos is regretting going to Ferrari, especially considering that these cars are kind of carrying over to next year? Do you think maybe, like, seriously, could McLaren actually be a better option in the future with Mercedes engines and everything like that?
Depends on whether or not Binotto's going to be there next year.
Yeah, true. So true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult with Binotto, isn't it? Because I feel like he's kind of, you know, Ferrari don't have a distinct kind of chief technical officer like Red Bull do, like Mercedes do. He kind of wears both hats, and you know, Binotto's been there for a long time. He's been through there since like through the Schumacher domination, and he was like race engineer to Barrichello for a long time, and he clearly knows his stuff. He knows how to develop a strong car, but to wear that team principal hat as well, I feel like is maybe a stretch too far. I think they should get someone in. Who? I don't know. But I think they should get someone in and maybe put him back to a more technical focus role, if you ask me.
So you've analysed Ferrari quite a lot, Nick. How do you read this whole situation of management and everything? How do you see it?
I think Carlos is interesting solely because I'm more focused. I'm less about the car. I think the car is probably going downhill. We all know it. Everything just said that. I mean, I agree. They really need a technical just push. But at the same time, I want to know how this is going to affect Leclerc because, you know, you bringing in Carlos, he's a specific personality. I personally don't buy it. I don't think it's the right move. But I've been very vocal about that. But I think it all depends on Leclerc being the driver he was at the end of 2019. What happens if this Leclerc looks more like the Verstappen who was kind of starting to come to realize more and more, no matter how good that's what I feel like with Leclerc, no matter how good he is, I think he's starting to realize he actually can't win races anymore. And that wasn't always true for 2019, but he's already tasted the good life. And I think the difference between him and Verstappen never really had the car, but he always kind of was, quote unquote, you know, overproducing in what he was given. So for me, I think the car is going to be rough, but I'm more interested in how Leclerc, if this changes his driving style at all, and this whole incident with all this stuff with Vettel going on.
Yeah, I mean, I was one of those people that I said before it was even announced that I do think Vettel should have been dropped for next year, and I think they did the right move because as a pairing, I think 2019 it was just a can of worms that was beginning to open. But Carlos, he's an interesting character to get in there because he's not a number 2 driver. He is a fiery character. There's no doubt about it. He's coming off the back of a pretty decent season in 2019, and he's going to be obviously pretty excited to be at Ferrari. So I honestly think that it's not going to be smooth sailing. I mean, how does everyone else see that Leclerc-Carlos Sainz partnership, especially in a bad car?
Yeah, I mean, I think personally, I think like Carlos is only going to have one season in the kind of current spec car before the tech regs come in 2022, and obviously Ferrari are best placed to make the most of those changes because they've got so much money, they've got so much resource. So I think if I was Carlos, like I wouldn't be too concerned because ultimately Ferrari are best placed of any team essentially. Obviously I know the financial model's changing, but again with Ferrari, with the name, with the history, with all that comes in, I think they're like if they don't hit the ground running in 2022, then and again, we know there's issues in terms of car development. We've been giving Ferrari excuses for years and years and years now. They've been earning the most of all the teams for so many years now, and they haven't won, a constructors in 12, 13 years, whatever it is. So I think I don't know. It's hard to say. I think Carlos, ultimately, it's a long-term plan. He's still only 25, so he's got a lot of years ahead of him. It could have been a big risk, and maybe McLaren will come through, but it certainly seems like financially, Ferrari have got a bit more of a kind of stable backing behind them, because we've heard about all of the stuff with McLaren needing a big loan from Bahrain and whatever. So that's a bit concerning. But I think long term, I don't think Carlos will be too concerned.
And I do just want to say,
sorry.
Yeah, go. Really quickly, I just want to mention, like Tomo said that Ferrari hopefully they'll bounce back in 2022. I think he said with the new regs. The only thing I'll say about that is, you talked about history and passion, and this is something that me and Nick have been talking about a lot. And this is something perhaps I'll go into again, but do you think that team is almost like too Italian? Because there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of history, whatever, but that doesn't win you titles now. You can have as much passion for Ferrari as you want. Sometimes you need, and this is something, as again, we talked about with Nick, is that team a little bit too Italian? Do you kind of know what I mean? Because it took, a Frenchman in Jean Todt, it took two Englishmen in Rory Byrne and Ross Bourne, and it took a German, a precise German in Michael Schumacher to grab that car by the scruff of the neck and do what he did. So they might have the history, but do they need to fundamentally change as a team? But anyway, I'll hand over to you, Josh, just to butt in there.
Yeah, you talked about how Sainz doesn't really need to worry too much about sort of long-term future at Ferrari. I'm not sure about that, because I know it's most likely not going to happen, bringing the juniors up immediately. But look at who the juniors are, as opposed to the Renault Academy, where they got one good driver and then Guang Yu Zhou, and then they got Red Bull, where they got a whole host of people that they don't know what to do with, and they seem to be getting the crap ones, trying to get them into F1 instead. With Ferrari, you got about four drivers in there.
So they've got too much talent. Yeah.
And
I think that's going to be
you got Schumacher
bottleneck.
I mean, Mick Schumacher, they've got a hard on to try and get on into Formula One.
That's a great image for everyone.
I've never seen a Formula hard-on one. Whatever. But the point is that they desperately want to try and shoehorn him into the Ferrari team. You could tell. So there's him. There's Schwartzman, who I'm really freaking touting as a future star.
Armstrong.
They're both doing very well. Callum Ilott, Marcus Armstrong, even though Marcus Armstrong's got an IQ of 3, but it doesn't matter. He can still drive. You've got all this talent. And, they're coming up through Formula 2. All of them. So you can't tell me that Sainz isn't sort of looking over his shoulder. And I think some other people are speculating too that Sainz is merely a sort of seat filler. He better not be for his sake. So I think that next year he'll be looking to prove a point. Will he be able to do it against Leclerc? I don't know, especially in a car which apparently handles like a bloody wet cat. So, I don't know about that with Sainz. I think he's probably going to have his work cut out from next year, and he's really going to have a point to prove.
Yeah, it's good.
I mean, that's a really interesting point. So what do you think? Have you been watching like the lower, in terms of Nick, have you been watching the other Ferrari drivers? Because I kind of a little bit butted in and mentioned, I think Ferrari could definitely have a bottleneck effect. They have so many good drivers. Like you said, Ilott, Schumacher, Schwartzman, Armstrong, there's just almost too many of them. What are they going to do with all of them in the next couple of years, really?
Yeah, so Renault has what? They have two, the Brazilian, I think they have two Formula Renault drivers. So they have Max Futrell, Lundgaard, Calculet, Zhou, Hadrian David. I mean, I feel like Ferrari their academy, just even on its face, is a lot more talent. I don't know if you guys know this, but like, what is the long-term history of their academy drivers actually sticking like on program? So throughout like all of those that talent pool, some of them have to land in one of those seats. And to Josh's point, I think I'd be terrified if I was Carlos, because I actually think and Josh, what you said made me kind of think of this. If you had to put Leclerc in a car that was underperforming and he needed to just, at that point it's about protecting it and maximizing the points, I actually think Carlos would do pretty well there. Where I think Leclerc is really dangerous is when he has a car without limits. Like, he can actually go full throttle and not be hampered by at least the limitations of what the current car is giving him. But if you have a car, the regulations, if we all come together, and if they, artificially bring us together, you have the F2 drivers who I can't prove it. I have no evidence. I have no data, but I have a feeling that the Ferrari drivers, all the F2 drivers coming up, the young drivers, are going to be really good at maintaining that car, being safe, just getting it home. And I don't know how that affects Leclerc psychologically, because as we've seen so far, at least the last race was just unbelievable. So we'll have to see tomorrow, or this weekend. But thus far, in situations where he's stressed or he's irritated or he's just frustrated, he doesn't always get the car home. And that might play perfectly into the hands of the younger drivers who, they may just want to develop in cars that we're just trying to figure out what's going on. So the Ferrari Academy look really good. It just depends on how many make it to that seat.
Yeah. So I suppose to kind of
they got Alfa Romeo
go for it.
as that sort of feeder series thing, because they've got Leclerc in there, and I know they got Giovinazzi in there, or Italian.
He's not going to be around for long. He's going to be gone, I think, by the end of the season.
Yeah, and also Kimi. You could tell that at some point he's probably going to be going, wow, I don't want this no more. And he's probably just going to want to pack his bags and bugger off. So, you got 2 vacant seats there. And Schumacher and Schwartzman are going to... I think they already have it. When I checked the super license points, I think they've already got the super license points required to go into Formula 1. Interestingly, just quickly, the person with the most super license points is Nick Cassidy with 97. You need 40 to get in Formula 1.
The key.
I saw a video about it
people said I
a few
didn't
months
know
ago.
Jack about Nick Cassidy. Oh, you don't know shit about him going to Formula 1. Well, there are the points. But
He's
so 2 vacant seats at Alfa Romeo, and if you put those 2 young talents in there, where they're going to have a point to prove, and if they perform well, then all of a sudden Sainz will have big shitting in pants, really. But it all depends really upon what Kimi wants to do next year. But I think we're all pretty much in agreement that Italian Jesus is going to be on his way out at the end of the year.
There's too much good talent
Sadly.
coming through. There's far too much good talent coming through. Because that's the thing, like you say, Schwartzman, Armstrong, Eilert, like whoever doesn't get the promotion as well. I feel like, Red Bull, like they've got Tsunoda and Deruvala in F2. And I feel like they could snap up whoever doesn't get promoted, because I feel like they're all very, particularly, if you ask me, it's Eilert, Armstrong and Schwartzman who are the 3 kind of standouts above Schumacher for me personally, because obviously the Schumacher name brings a lot, but I don't know. I don't think he's quite at their level personally, but yeah, I feel like whoever isn't getting the call up there, maybe Red Bull will come around and you'll get you'll get missed.
No. If I were Red Bull, if I were Red Bull and I had to choose a junior talent outside of the program at the moment, Dan Ticktum.
There is Danny Ticktum, to be fair. There is the London boy.
We knew he was going to come up. He was going to come up at some point. No, I think there's a lot. F2 this year looks hot.
Does.
Like there is
really
so much talent.
Really good.
Because I feel like last year it was a little bit, I don't know, it was okay, but it wasn't like this year. We've got like Schwartzman, who's an amazing talent already. We do have Schumacher. We still don't know how good he actually is. Again, Dan Ticktum, he's on his day, he can beat anyone. So yeah, there's a lot of really kind of good drivers out there for sure. But I suppose pretty quickly just handing. Oh, go away. Just go away with that one.
Let's side down. Just totally let's a side down.
Can someone quickly remind me, how many years has he been in Formula 2? I forget now. Because he's been there for a while.
He's been there, I think... Oh, God. He was there when Mitch Evans was racing.
Really?
And I think he stopped, I think, 2016.
Blimey.
God.
Brilliant.
What? At least 5 years. Surely.
He's working his way up, guys, all right? Give him time. He's a young prospect, okay? He's a young prospect.
Yeah, he's working his way up. He's gaining 0.0004 of a second each year.
Hey, he's
it's not
gaining.
much of an improvement, but it is an improvement.
He's gaining. That is all that matters. That is all that matters. But Tomo, can you just quickly, we'll kind of round off the Ferrari conversation at the moment. What do you think they need to do going forward? Because I don't think it's wrong to say they're in a mess at the moment with a little bit with drivers, management, everything. Everything is just a mess. But what can they do in the future to just kind of get something going?
I think, again, with the limited engine development that they can put in over the remaining of this year and next year, do they consolidate? I think that there is, there's an argument there that are they best to kind of consolidate their resources, just take the L, because obviously this engine malark is hit them hard. That's clear as day to anyone. And if it's fundamental things that they can't change with the engine, then what more can they do? Unless they focus on the aero side of things, try and match Red Bull in the aero package. I think just sack this and next year off, honestly, and then just come back in 2022, stronger than ever, because I don't see a way around it. I don't know. What do you gents think? I don't see a way around the issue.
Can they afford to take next year off though?
It's Ferrari though, isn't it? That's the thing. This Ferrari. They've had bad times, but I feel like they can of any team they can afford to sack a year off more than any.
I don't know. Though. I mean, the Maranello press.
Think about it though.
Yeah.
Well, is it the Italian way, the passionate,
like
they want to make them, or is that's what I mean? Because what do they, again, with the limitations around engine development, then what can they do? What's the alternative?
I mean, who makes that call is the real question. Who sacks it? Because Mattia can't. I mean, he's basically forfeiting his job at that point.
Maybe
I would imagine.
But the thing is, I've just realised it's been how many
here for a moment. The Ferrari need to do something, and it's not going to be Genie's going to come out of the Pope's ass and it's all going to be fine. They need to defiantly make a decision here. Like, okay, is Binotto doing the job? If he's not, and since he's been in, there has not been a lot of development. In fact, they've gone backwards.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's rumblings of someone else coming in. Apparently, he's the director of the Ferrari GT program or something like that. And I looked at him, and it looks like a guy that will get things done. Whereas Binotto, he's a nice guy, but nice doesn't always get you the results that you want. You need someone who's going to make those
they
tough
need an
calls,
Andreas Seidel,
vital calls, whatever.
They need an Andreas Seidel for me.
Yeah, that's the person.
They need someone who's ran it. To be fair, I mean, like Josh said, someone who's ran a team before. But what's been nuts is the fact that 6 years they've had how many different team principals? They had Domenicali, then Mattiacci, Arriva Bene, Binotto. Now someone's coming in. I think they're like the most destabilized team in terms of team principal. Like that job is just not safe, literally. But I mean, it is Ferrari. I suppose kind of moving on a little bit because otherwise this entire episode is going to be a Ferrari special. Let's talk about kind of also staying on the same line. Sebastian Vettel obviously out. A lot of Twitter love for Sebastian Vettel, saying how good he is. Four-time world champion. I think he certainly has not covered himself in glory over the last couple of years, and it's something Tomo definitely mentioned. People talk about these four world titles. That was back in 2013, mate. That was a long time ago, and he's not the same driver, I don't think. And
how
now
dare you say that?
Look, you say Bolt ain't running sub 10 second 100 meters anymore. That's what I'm saying, man. Come on.
I'm just saying it's reflective of a lot of the community, because a lot of the community say he's got 4 world championships and you should give him the respect. That's the sort of mentality that was surrounded with here. That's completely.
But that's just purely an emotional
form you currently
That's an
have.
Emotional point to make. That's not backed up by anything, is it?
But it should really be about the form that you're currently in at the time. And right now, Vettel's nowhere near what we know he's capable of. So the team that he's being linked with, and I'm gonna hand over to Nick, because if I talk, I am gonna talk about this in another video because it makes me fuming. I'm absolutely like just
I'm
anybody
the worst person to ask this question. So
apart from Lawrence.
Go for it, Nick. I've just exactly right, Nick. I mean, what team is he being connected with? Why don't you tell us?
If he goes to Aston, I fucking swear, if he goes to Aston, if they kick Sergio, I'm sorry if you have to bleep that out, but It makes no sense. I can't even be. I was the worst person to ask this. You can't get. It makes no sense why you get rid of Checo, and you can't go to Red Bull. You just went through. You might as well fold up your any sort of semblance or hope that you're going to get a younger driver through your feeder program. Sebastian's had to go since Bahrain 2019, and that's not, has nothing to do with how good or not. It doesn't matter because Formula One, you're only as good as the last race. Unfortunately, or however you want to look at that, it's a true statement. It's a business, and there's only 20 races this year. Who God knows, they'll probably force 16, but Sebastian has no home in terms of what makes dollars. I don't know what Stroll has up his sleeve, frankly, but if he goes to Aston, I promise you, personally, I will make. I think we'll all make a video, but it will turn into a hate video very quickly. It doesn't make any sense at Red Bull either, and I'm also sick of. They're horse shit. They say one thing, it's not that thing, and I can't even follow Red Bull. But Aston, I don't know how you guys feel, but I will be livid if they decide to do that.
I think the whole. I mean, to me, like the actual move of Sebastian going to Aston, I think I'm okay with that. It's also I kind of get the whole, four-time champion brand. You're trying to grow, you're trying to create basically a dynasty in Aston Martin, if that kind of makes sense. But the fact that it's Checo, Sergio Perez, who has to make a side, because in my mind, I mean, imagine a Sergio Perez and Sebastian Vettel partnership. That is tasty. Yeah. That is good. That is a quality lineup. And instead, Sergio Perez, a guy who I've said like 1,000,001 times is the most underrated driver on the grid. He's been at that team since 2014. He has beaten every single teammate since 2015. That's, by the way, the longest run on the entire grid, even longer than Lewis Hamilton. And how many podiums has he scored for that team? Like 6? He's been at that team. Longevity. He's showed loyalty. And he's still, it's not like we're defending a driver because of nostalgia. We're defending a driver because he was quality right now. He's quality in 2020. He was quality in 2019. And just one last thing, you said, Nick, that, you're only as good as your last race. Well, apparently with Sebastian Vettel, you're only as good as your last race at the back end of 2013. Like, that seems to be like the different rules. But again, a Vettel-Checo partnership is great. I think I like that. But the fact that Sergio Perez has to go is, I think it's a disgrace to Formula One. It's a disgrace to the fact that we're looking for the best drivers, and you should be rewarded if you're the best, and you should be rewarded if you have loyalty. And I think it's a disgrace if he has to go, quite honestly. And I think that it shows that Lawrence Stroll has I don't think he has any integrity within him if he does that, because I'm a big actually fan of his. I think he's done a lot of good, but yeah, I'm going to stop now.
What if he just moves Lance?
That's
the
only
thing I was thinking. If he just buys
really
Williams and moves
he's gonna
Lance.
remove Lance?
I think he moves Lance if he buys the team. That's all I think.
It's a sensible business decision. I think it makes sense in so many ways for him to move Lance, because when he was at Williams, Lawrence can get Lance a seat. There's a Haas seat.
He's got to own that seat.
Lawrence could.
But those drivers are just tied down now. Literally just today it was news. Those two drivers, Latifi and Russell, are tied down.
I think Haas, that could be a potential in. I feel like to just get, because the thing is, if Lawrence really wants, and this is beyond Formula One, he wants to revitalise Aston Martin as a marquee brand. He wants Aston Martin to be at the top of Formula One in order to, reinvigorate this brand, which is obviously stagnated over the years, hence its financial troubles. And you're not like, Perez and Vettel would be such a sick combination, and that would do so much in terms of challenging the top, more so than Stroll. I mean, I've been a defender of Stroll, but he's not at the level of Perez or Vettel. I'm the first to admit that. And that's the thing, like, I feel like, if anything, Lawrence, all right, maybe get him a seat at Haas, because, Ferrari Driver Academy, ex-Ferrari Driver Academy, kind of a little bit of a link there. And then, bring him back in 2025 when they're at the top of the tree. I don't know, maybe Stroll will come good because he's the second youngest driver on the field, but to me, it's bad business keeping Stroll in that position as well. I don't know.
I think the problem with putting him in Haas, though, it's a really horrible problem, and it's kind of the cause of this whole, his dad owns the team, is that if he puts him in Haas, he's obviously going to have to give a bit of money to Haas, and he's directly funding his competition. So from a business perspective, we remove the drivers out of it. How does that sound to directly be giving money to your rival, a direct rival? So that's why it's just, this whole situation is just weird.
Challenge Aston Martin if Aston Martin are performing where they want to be and where it's looking like they are going there. I still think Haas will be kind of a back end of the midfield team. But
yeah, he's come through Prema, right? So there'll be links with I think someone mentioned that on Twitter. Like, what if he bought Haas? And I think if he did that, when it comes to Stroll, I just imagine him buying whatever. He's bought teams before to get Lance a seat. I don't think it's out of the question.
Yeah,
but
welcome
if
to
he was
Formula
going to do something,
welcome to Formula Canada. Really?
yeah.
I just fuck. Nah. Oh my god. I seriously like this.
Brilliant.
It touched a nerve here.
We're speaking. Right,
Go on,
I'm
Josh.
speaking right now as if this is going to happen. I mean, because for God's sake, we just know it's coming. We just know that this is happening. This is an absolute fucking disgrace. You know, we can't, like, I've got nothing that much bad to say against Lance. I think he's relatively competent at the moment. But compared to Perez, it's night and fucking day. Like, you look at the Red Bull ring. Yeah, I remember that he outqualified Perez, and I was getting these messages from these trolls saying, you know, you said he's shit. Why did he outqualify him? Yeah, once in 4 years. Fuck me! If this is what passes for being the next big thing, Christ on earth. The one time
and then what happened in the
race in high school. Okay, fine. I guess I'm the next Michael Phelps. Like, at the end of the day. We've got a situation here where Aston Martin can hire a 4-time world champion who right now spins more times than he finishes. Great, okay, you want to hire him, that's fucking fantastic. You hire someone who's not quite as good as he used to be, debatably. But then you go ahead and replace Perez to keep the seat vacant for Lance Stroll. There is not much wrong with the current Racing Point
It's a risky move, isn't it?
lineup. As I said, Perez is doing a bloody good job. Stroll is doing a fine job-ish.
Yeah.
You know? But if you come from 6 positions back, overtake your teammate, get 30 seconds ahead of him, damage your front wing, run around for a few laps, and still finish ahead of him, what does that say about him? Like, at the end of the day, this isn't a one-off thing, and I'm not. This isn't bottled up from all these years. I couldn't give two shits. We just got a situation right now where someone is going to be shafted simply because his name is not Stroll. And it's absolute bullshit that we're in this situation where we are literally, it is so blatantly obvious to see. And again, I don't mind too much Stroll being in Formula 1 right now, but under the circumstances, it's an absolute fucking disgrace, and it needs to be said.
I wonder what's in his contract, because Sergio has to think because he was the first one to sign, right? An extension, aside from Lance, obviously.
Yeah.
But
it's that exit.
He still has a contract now, doesn't he?
Exercised.
What's that?
The
Josh?
exit clause. Yeah.
What is it? Do you know actually what his exit clause is?
Oh, I don't think anyone knows. I would imagine he had to have gone to himself, well, okay, this is his son. If someone becomes available, I'm out. And I imagine he's been in Formula 1 a while for a reason. He's a journeyman. So it obviously is not airtight, which is surprising, because this seems... I don't understand why you couldn't protect against it. So I don't know.
No, I
Maybe
don't think
they
you,
didn't agree to it.
To be honest, Nick, I mean, when you're negotiating, when your boss is your teammate's son,
right?
There's always going to be something in that contract. And the problem is that I'm just thinking of the offset. You know, let's make an argument that Vettel is still, you know, he is better than, you know, Sergio Perez. Some people can make that argument, whatever. But is the offset, because his contract there's going to be a buyout clause, and it's not going to be, you know, $20. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot to buy out Sergio Perez. It's going to be a lot to lose all of his sponsorship money. It's going to be a lot to hire Sebastian Vettel. He ain't racing for £20 an hour. He's going to be there. He's going to want millions. There's no doubt about it. Is all of that worth it? All of that money, all of that investment, you know, maybe obviously Lawrence is a billionaire, so maybe it's, you know, just changed to him, but is all of that worth it just to get that little bit of offset and just to get that little bit of brand name to have Sebastian Vettel in there? Like,
Yeah. It's like Aston Martin, they want that kind of like marquee signing, which I understand. I understand that point of view, having a 4 times world champion in your car, brand new
same
team,
with Renault,
new
I
start,
suppose.
whatever. But again, like, yeah, of course, with Alonso. But like, in Perez, they're losing so much value. You mentioned obviously the sponsors. You know, he is like, you know, if you talk about pay drivers, obviously his talent proves itself. But he does bring a lot of money into that team. But also, I mean, Perez essentially saved that team. And there's a lot of love for Checo in that team. And it's just like, there is more to it, I feel, than a traditional kind of driver transfer. There's layers to it that I think Sergio would be absolute, like, he'd feel. I don't know. I think he'd feel. You've got the bloody. Was it the ex-president of Mexico tweeting hashtag keep Checo? Like, there's layers.
I think it's because he's a quality driver, and Formula One fans, you know, we love the Landos, we love the media personalities. Yeah, he's a Twitch streamer. It's so great to see that. But the bottom line of Formula One is what we love most of all is a bloody good driver, a quality driver. That's what matters most of all. And yes, Checo doesn't have the Instagram following. Yes, he's not a global icon. He's not a Twitch streamer. But he's a bloody good driver, and that's better than anything else, and that's what's most important. So that's why I think, you know, me personally, that's why I absolutely just hate seeing him, you know, as I kind of mentioned on Twitter, climb the mountain. Finally, he's got a car that consecutively can fight for podiums, and he's going to get knocked down to a Haas. You know, just... It just honestly boils my blood. But again, who wants to say one last word on it? Because there's something I want to move on to just a little bit.
Yeah, question. Is Aston Martin coming into the World Endurance Championship with those new hypercar rules? Because they've been talking about it, haven't they, with the Valkyrie?
Yeah, I think so. They mentioned that a few years ago, or maybe last year.
If they're going to do that, put Lance in there. Shit, yeah, put Lance in the bloody GT car. And I'm not being a dick here. Like, I can imagine Lance will be a good GT driver, you know, because he's got decent race pace.
Yeah.
Not amazing, but I reckon he'd be well cut out for a GT driver.
Good in the wet.
Good in the wet, yeah, exactly. So you want someone with those assets there. I do not think he deserves to be in Formula One on merit at the moment. I felt that, you know, you give him until the end of this year. If it's a 16 race calendar at least, you see where he is. And so far he's relatively competent. That moving at Red Bull Ring on Ricciardo was, in my books, not on.
That was over the line. He didn't even make the corner. Like,
but,
that's...
Yeah, at the end of the day, Stroll has got qualities. I don't think they lie in Formula One, personally. People will differ on that opinion. That's fine. And there'll be people saying, oh, this guy hates Stroll. No, just compared to Perez, I think I know which one deserves to be in Formula One right now. You know, so you put Stroll in your Aston program. He is still the face of the brand. You're still furthering his profile. You keep him on as a test and reserve driver for Aston Martin. Meanwhile, you got Vettel and Perez on the front lines doing well. I mean, personally, I think that's the best case scenario you could do. But no. Let's put Lance in there. Let's replace Perez and let's keep Lance in that seat. Fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way he does that.
Yeah,
he's bought teams for Lance. There's no way.
Oh, man, the stories I've freaking heard of his Formula 3 campaign. Have you heard the same ones? Where it's just, it's all unofficial history, but you hear about, you know, buying a fairly big portion of Prema Power Team, bringing in drivers to help coach him. Heaps of freaking stories, but, you know, at the end of the day, that's Formula 3. This is Formula 1. And the question I got to ask
isn't Montoya his coach now?
Sorry?
Isn't Montoya his coach now too?
A bugger if I know.
I believe.
Yeah, I mean, that's... Yeah.
At the end of the day, look, I just simply asked everyone here, who deserves to be in Formula 1 more? Based on current pace and racecraft, everything that is vital to Formula 1, who deserves to be in Formula 1 more at the moment, Perez or Stroll? Simple question there. Should be a simple
what do you guys
answer
say?
Too.
Nick?
Don't even need to say anything.
I mean, I don't think anyone in this planet would say Stroll over Perez.
So, right, okay. I'm actually not going to say Sergio Perez because I'm going to say the person I'm going to talk about next, Fernando Alonso. So, here we go.
Tomo, you want to take the floor on this?
To be fair, I don't want to spend too long because, I mean, we've all kind of sort of done videos around it. So just, you know, your quick thoughts on Alonso returning because, I mean, you guys might know my thoughts. You know, I'm a bit of a Fernando fan, no doubt about it. And I genuinely think that Renault were backed into a corner where, I mean, I like Juan Yuzhou, I like Lundgaard, but I don't think they were ready to be in a customer team, a team that wants to go forward. So I feel like Fernando, he's a really good option for the next couple of years, you know, outside of all of the factors that make Fernando Alonso Fernando. So I'm excited to see him back. I'm going to be waving his flag, probably the only one in the stands, but you know, never mind. But what do you guys think of his return? Yeah, let's start with Tomo. Go for it. Loved your livery, by the way.
Go on. Get in there.
I mean, look. To preface, look, obviously, I'm more than... I hope he proves me wrong, Fernando. I hope that with his maturity, with his age, he's changed and is not the toxic presence that he. Like, for me, there's no argument that he once was, because ultimately, look, Renault do want to move forward. They've committed their future to Formula One, and they want to develop a team that can challenge at the very top. And obviously, a driver with Fernando's experience, a driver with Fernando's talent, unquestionably one of the best to ever drive a Formula One car in the last 20, 30, 40 years. No question, of course, incredibly talented. Will he? What's the old leopard changes its spots?
A leopard never changes its spots.
I don't know what Animal Planet documentary you watch, man, but
listen, Josh, in the UK it's a little bit different.
You know what I mean, boys. Calm down, all right?
There's literally leopards with changing spots going down central London, literally. Anyway, yeah, fair enough.
I hope he's changed his tune, but I don't know, man. Fernando and Cyril.
Oh my Jesus!
And that's we talk about Cyril. There's Mr. Revel. Sorry, I almost say your bloody surname wrong. You can chime in on Cyril because they're two personalities for sure, aren't they?
Why'd you go to Josh, man?
At all? No way. Sorry, I had to blurt that out there. Knee-jerk reaction.
Go on, Josh. Go on.
Oh, wait, so it's my turn. I got the gavel, have I?
Actually, I'm interested to hear Josh. What do you think of this? Because obviously we know you're not Cyril's biggest fan. And what do you think of? I don't know, mate. I'm just reading it from your kind of your voice language.
We've got the Williams Story fan club president in Tom, and we've got the Cyril fan club president in Josh. Literally,
I'm pretty sure Bad Santa's got a hit out on me, but I mean, hey, apart from that. And also the special guest I've got coming in for an interview, Aldas, you Tomo, who I've got. Nick, I haven't told you who I've got coming on as a guest, but you'll never believe it.
Josh, do you dare give my subscribers a little bit of a sneak? Do you dare?
How can I give a sneak and not give it away? Like, well, actually, there is some way because I wasn't very nice to him. And that doesn't narrow it down.
That narrows it down.
I've roasted half the Formula One paddock.
Josh, I was going to say...
it's like easier.
Josh, DM Nick now. DM Nick now, and we can get Nick's live reaction to finding out.
And whilst you're doing that,
on
Nick...
everyone else, unexpected, man. Don't... Let him record that reaction.
So, Nick, right, enough. Can we just get a bit of sanity back on this podcast? Nick, Fernando Alonso, a few little minutes. What do you think?
Fernando Alonso. Well, the surprise comes later. But anyway, so I've detailed this in the video that I did. That it would have been nice to have someone like Zhou or Lundgaard come through, and I think Lundgaard's more of a promising prospect than Zhou. But they're not what Renault needs right now. What Renault needs right now is someone who can lead the way for the team, because they've got Ocon there. But I wouldn't trust Ocon with his lunch, let alone the brand sort of Formula One team.
Add another one. Add another one to the offenders list.
I was going to say, yeah.
But I mean, my point remains the same. You need need a lead driver in there who's got expertise in the field, who's got pace to burn. Fernando fits all of those narratives. So, irrespective of what you may think of them. From a personality standpoint, I think you and I, Tomo, we kind of agree on that. But from a pace perspective, very few people in the world can actually match him. Very few.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that I'm sure McLaren thought the same thing in 2015, whenever it is.
Well, to be honest, the Honda engine back then did not discriminate. Or just irrespective of whether you were Alonso or Van Dorn or whoever. It did not discriminate.
I mean, to be fair, he did beat all of his teammates except from Button, I think, in 2015 when he had way more retirements. He did beat every single one of his teammates. And the only thing I will defend about Fernando is that, I mean, if you put yourself in his shoes, he truly believes he's one of the greatest of all time, that he could go toe-to-toe with Lewis and Sebastian, and he gets shafted into a McLaren, which just absolutely falls off the cliff. So on one side, could you imagine how that actually feels? You know that you're one of the best drivers of all time, and you're stuck at the back of the field. You're watching Vettel in a better Ferrari than you ever had. So I do understand the negativity from one aspect. I'll just kind of defend Fernando there, to be a Fernando defender.
we see a fraction of what actually goes on when you look at the driver and their relationship with the team, and because if they don't give him a good car, blah blah blah, all this stuff, right? We see a fraction of it, and to me, that again is correlation causation, not always, but why has Fernando consistently not been given a car that has been able to deliver? Now, again, this is like, we don't know. Maybe he's just been very unlucky. Maybe it's because of his toxicity and his inability to work well in a team historically.
Or maybe it's a gypsy curse.
Maybe.
It could be that as well.
And maybe that.
Well, there we go. I think we've just sorted it. So again, one last word, Nick. You've been a little bit.
I think
we've kind of kept Nick a little bit quiet on this one. One last word on Alonso's return.
I try to talk about Alonso as little as possible because I always get myself in trouble. But I think Alonso...
Who doesn't?
We're just protecting
mate.
I'm
Who
just
doesn't?
trying to be careful here. I don't know if this goes viral or not, but my very tempered reaction is Alonso is, if you keep him there for more than 2 years, I don't think anything good's going to come of it. But you can't put anyone else in that car. Renault, as much as they say they're here forever, they're not. They're one poor season away from. I don't even know how Cyril keeps his job, to be honest with you. But let's say they get someone else in there, all hell breaks loose, and they have to do something. I think this is we'll never know the contract, but I guarantee you, it's a heavily incentive-based contract, and I personally think you would never confuse me for an Alonso fan. I'll say that, but I will say he has the perfect amount of axe to grind. He's a vindictive bastard, just like Cyril, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I think it's a certain amount is good. I think Ocon is the exact same way. And I've been joking about it for months. It's my favorite villain team. I will buy all the merch. I will actually probably, out of like campy, I'll root for them. But that is exactly what you need. Just someone who's going to get in there. They don't care about getting their elbows out. Neither of them, by the way. Or all three of them, including Cyril. Cyril's got Red Bull to fight. Got Alonso, they almost ruined Indy for him. He's going to battle Honda. Call him GP2. There'll be that. How many jokes about that will be made? Ocon's got nothing to lose. He's driving for his life because if he loses again, how long is he going to be in Formula One? So I think it's the perfect amount of axe to grind, and it could either be a beautiful disaster or an amazing comeback, but we'll be there for the whole time.
It could be a new Alonso Briatore.
Oh, yes. Exactly. Bring it back.
That works.
I mean...
and I'll concede that worked. Yeah. So maybe this could work.
I think it's the perfect horror movie for 2021. We just can't wait to see how it's going to work out for sure. Okay, we'll kind of talk. I can see that everyone's still raring to go about Fernando, but we're going to have to move on because again, this video could be like an hour long on Fernando Alonso. You guys know me. So kind of rounding it off for the last 10, 15 minutes. Let's just talk about kind of the future, also this season as well. How do you guys because it's a crazy midfield battle. It's maybe not as crazy up front. I do think Lewis is still got the measure of Valtteri Bottas by far. I do think Valtteri will surprise, but in the end, Lewis has I've said Lewis Hamilton is the greatest, so, that's a controversial opinion. But how do you guys see the rest of the 2020 season and just kind of the 2021 as well? Someone please get in.
Well, don't all go at once. I mean, come on.
I know I talk a lot, so I want to let one of you guys jump in.
Okay, I'll go first. Hamilton wins this year, and the next one. Move on.
Got it. Tomo.
No, it's just, again, he is the informed guy, and with engines and chassis frozen next year, is form going to change that much in between teams? That Merc is so freaking dominant right now. I can't see much changing on the pace front in regards to cars. So, I think, unless Bottas, it's good to have a good start to the season, but other drivers have had that, and not just with against Hamilton. You're talking about all the past world champions. It's a championship. It's not 2 or 3 races. So, Bottas has got a good start. Great, cool. You've got at least another 8 races, so you've got to perform. And you've got to keep ahead of Lewis's, mind games against his incredible Superman-esque sort of stuff. So, it's not as simple as eating porridge and getting back at James or anything like that. You need to be consistent throughout the entire year, but I can't see that happening. So I think Lewis will get his 8th world title next year, and it will be amazing, and there'll still be people who say he only won because he's in the best car. Give me 1 year where that wasn't the case. But anyway, so that midfield battle I think will be good. McLaren Racing Point going to be good and close. Ferrari are going to be in a big pile of mess until they get rid of that Ghostbuster, Binotto.
I had to think for a second, like, there's so many of them, I just don't know
Have
which
you
who.
seen Harold Ramis in the Ghostbusters? I think it was Harold Ramis. Was it Harold Ramis? I mean, good God, you look at that guy in the Ghostbusters and you bring up Binotto and you don't tell me that he was brought to actual real life and then put into Italy and then became a technical engineer. Boom.
You have to work that in your next video.
I thought Binotto.
How do I get from Hamilton's going to be an 8-time world champion to Ghostbusters, a man with a Ferrari Formula 1 team?
I thought Binotto was the boy who lived, who turned into Ferrari team principal. Or like, I saw everyone was saying he looks like Harry Potter growing up. Oh yeah. To be fair,
but yeah. Anyway,
Tomo, what about you? Look, Tomo, go for it. I'll hand over to Tomo.
Okay, so I mean, look, I agree with you, Aldas. I think Lewis is the greatest of all time. But in terms of, I think Bottas's chances, I think now is his best chance. I think for a number of reasons. I think he obviously, there was a stage in the middle of last year where we weren't even sure if his contract would be extended. I feel like, look, Bottas has played second fiddle to Lewis now for a while, and I think if he's got his new misses. There seems to be this reinvigorated Bottas. I know we said this at the start of last season, but if he's ever going to get a World Drivers' title, it needs to be now. And I don't see another opportunity beyond this year because, again, there's a lot of kind of... I know 2021 maybe, but I just think, like, if I'm Valtteri, I'm like, going up in the junior categories, it was him and Daniel Ricciardo. They're both the same age and they were both, dominating and doing really well in the junior categories, and Bottas won a lot. And he hasn't, yes, he's got a car that he can put on pole. Now, obviously, Lewis, 1.2 seconds in the rain, it was insane.
Crazy.
But I think Bottas, if he wants to win that World Drivers' title, which I'm sure he does, and he comes across as this Mr. Nice Guy playing by the rules and doing whatever the team tell him to, if I'm in Valtteri's ear, I'm like, fuck that, mate. Do you... This is your best chance to win a championship. Stop playing Mr. Nice Guy. And I think, I think whether he will do or not, I think this is his best opportunity. And I think I don't know. I feel this vibe. Do I think he'll do it? No. But I think this will be the closest Valtteri's ever got to Lewis. That's the way.
The only thing I'll add really quickly on top of that is, I mean, to be fair, at least he has a chance to fight for it. It's not like a Schumacher Barrichello situation where, like, even 6-7 races into the season, which is ridiculous, by the way, Jean Todt was already putting like team orders to give Schumi the win. At least Valtteri has the opportunity. I think there's like a joke that he's a number 2 driver.
If I'm Valtteri, I'm like, no, shut up, James, go away. I'm doing my own thing because he doesn't have to listen to them. Like, he doesn't. He's the one driving the car, and he doesn't. And if he wants that world title, and he knows they want Lewis to be the greatest of all, in the same way that Red Bull want Max to be the youngest world drivers title champion. Valtteri's not stupid. He knows that they want Lewis to get this world title and to become, statistically the greatest of all time. Fuck that, man. That's his career. That's Valtteri's legacy. Do a Nico Rosberg. Get
but
in and out.
The problem is, just to quickly say as well, we're talking about this amazing start that Bottas has had, but even if you look at the first race which he won, Hamilton was still catching him hand over fist with a penalty. He was still the quicker driver in Austria 1. He was obviously the quicker driver in Styria 1 or Austria 2, whatever. So I think the problem for Valtteri is, at the end of the day, we can talk about, whatever, he's got, a new girlfriend, a lot of change in his life. He started well, but at the end of the day, I just don't think he's quick enough. He'll be able to nick a win, there and there. And he is a good driver, I think. He is a good driver. I think we forget that. But Lewis is, in the words of Tomo, different gravy, mate. But yeah.
He needs to be cutthroat. He needs to be cutthroat.
So, Nick, what do you think about the future Formula 1, 2020 and stuff like that?
Yeah, and he's not. I don't even know what the fuck we're talking. There's no way Valtteri, if Valtteri was going to win, I go back and I watch 2016 because it's so interesting. Nico, to what you guys were just saying, Nico didn't give a shit. Like, he won, 5 in a row? And there were times where it was pretty questionable, where it's like he clearly, this was his year. Because at the end of the day, After win 3, he's getting fired. Like, there's no way they're renewing that. And so I think Valtteri, honestly, like, he's in the same situation. They haven't confirmed his contract. They can hint at it all they want. But until they actually say he's in, that was his number one complaint. He said the fact that we were negotiating my contract in 2019, because you got to remember, round 7, he started to suck ass. Everything was slow. When Valtteri's alone and he's not fighting for position, the guy is nearly perfect. Like, that's for sure. But again, everyone's saying it's a championship. And Lewis is so battle hard. I think 2016 changed him for life. Yeah. And I think that will never happen again. If Valtteri was going to win, like I was saying last year, he's got to go at least 3 for 3. And even his 1 was close. And Lewis just blowing them out of the water. Like, that's not what you want if you're Valtteri. He can get all the new girlfriends. He can get multiple. It doesn't matter because Lewis has he's got records on his mind. Valtteri just wants to be the not Lewis pushover. And mentally, it's already over. Yeah, you need to come out the gate swinging like no Mr. Nice Guy. He needs to not be the opposite. So It's too late.
Right. Do you know what, boys? It's been fun, but I've got to wrap it up here. We've been talking for almost an hour. So I suppose I'll give you guys one last word each. Anything else you want to say? Okay, brilliant. Okay, yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Go on, Josh. Come on, Josh. I want to hear what Josh has got to say.
I don't know if I really have anything to say. I think I took it all out on Lawrence not too long ago.
We should make a joint Checo video. Think how aggressive that would be.
That would be savage, mate. I'm up for it. I'm down. Absolutely. If everyone else is game, then I'm definitely
I don't know how we do it.
Okay, well, as I said, I am going to wrap it up now. Thank you to you guys for joining me on this special 50K. I feel like we need to make this a little bit of an occasion. We need to do it more.
Congratulations, mate.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
Yeah, congrats, brother.
It's great to be the last one to get there. But yeah, no, of course, all you guys are getting super close. One geezer lives in New Zealand. He's almost pushing close to 90. So yeah,
I've noticed that.
We're going to talk about subscribers.
I've seen that, Josh.
Well done to the F1 word, 100,000.
Is he got it today, right now?
Yeah, he got it today.
Yeah, he's got it.
Oh, brilliant!
Is there like a rule for the plaque? Like, do you have to like maintain it for like a month? That's gonna be awesome.
I think you just ask for it and it delivers. FedEx next day shipping, mate. I don't know. Actually, I don't have 100,000 subscribers. But anyway, as I said, right. Brilliant. Right, I'm going to wrap this up because otherwise we're just going to absolutely go off the rails again. So, yeah, again, thank you guys for coming on. Hopefully you did enjoy watching it at home. Once again, thank you so much for 50,000 subscribers. And, yeah, I'll see you guys. Everyone can say bye to the viewers as well. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys can say bye as well. There you go.
I was gonna say, goodbye.
I'm just waving at my camera.
Right, cut the cameras.
Bye.